Hello everyone, welcome again on PokerProNews with an exciting conversation today. Joining us in today's interview session is Jessica Vierling, one of the poker most exciting star with over $1.3 million in live earnings and over 11 live titles including 2 WSOP rings. One of her career-defining victories includes joining the WSOPC Commerce Casino in 2024 for her career high $328,000. Please join me welcoming Jessica, a born gamer. Jessica, welcome on the show. So excited.
Wow, that was the best intro I think I've heard so far. Thank you.
Okay, all right, let's start. So, you have been playing poker for a long time. So, when and how did you get into the poker, and what were the early days like?
Okay, sure. So I've been playing cards since I was a little girl. I played German card games with my grandfather. And then I played gin rummy with my mom, and I just loved cards. I loved cards all the time. I didn't even know what poker was for a long time though. And then when I discovered it, I was 26 years old. Yeah, through boyfriend. He taught me the game, and I caught fire, and I bought all the books and training programs and stuff like that. Oh, not training programs like we know nowadays with solvers and stuff, but on the CD-ROMs back in the day, there's this WSOP game that you can play against avatars. So I used to do that, and I would win all the bracelets and think that I'm a superstar, and then I would play poker and lose, and it would be like surprising. But so in the early days, I just I played very intuitively and just for the fun of it for a very long time. I worked for Amazon, and then it took a backseat until four years ago.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Was there any challenges in the early days?
I don't think I learned. I didn't even know that there was such a thing as like poker is a guy thing or poker is a woman thing, or poker is not a woman thing. I would just learn it as any game, like I know on the professional level, like for chess and stuff like that. Now I know that it's male dominated, but I didn't used to know. I would study the game and be like hungry to learn more. The challenges that I did have some challenges, and it bugged the crap out of me when I would go to casinos with my boyfriend, and they would be asked. I would be waiting to enter, and they would be like, "Oh, are you here with your boyfriend? Do you want to watch? Should I pull up a chair?" And I was like, what's going on? It still happens, right? Like for the high roller in Vegas, where I got second this year to Darren Rabinowitz. Before I found my table, like at least 4 people, the ladies event was going on at the same time, were trying to send me to the ladies event. So those challenges still exist, yeah. Otherwise, challenges, honestly, like a constant challenge is to study GTO and then figure out how people are actually playing. I think that is a challenge. But other than that, I never had like financial issues because I was working for Amazon and had savings, and I'm a pretty frugal person. But yeah, I think combining instincts with knowledge and finding the right mix is a challenge.
Got it. Most of the player face the same issues, right?
Yeah, when you're making decisions and they're not GTO, and then being like, but like making conscious decision against your knowledge, and then if it doesn't go well, sticking with it and being fine with it.
Okay, coming back to your journey. So you transitioned from being employee at Amazon, working there as a program and productivity manager. and then you became like, full-time poker pro. So how did this shift happen? Like, what inspired you to leave the corporate career and take up the poker as a full-time?
So I always wondered if I could do it, just because the poker lifestyle is pretty. No, actually, it started off with, am I good enough at poker to do this for a little bit and live off of it? I wanted to do it as a poker sabbatical, but yeah, and then check it out, and then also because there are so many emotional challenges and so many, mindset challenges of discipline and emotional control and things like that. I was looking forward to learning those things through poker. I think that's the best environment. That's one of the best environments for it. And I was working for Amazon, and then I switched teams for career purposes, but I'm not like hierarchical person, right? Like if someone says to me, I'm right because I'm your boss, and they're not right, then I can't. And I got into some trouble with leadership in my last team, and we decided that I remain rehirable, but I would going through poker. I did my second master's degree, and then I was like, I'm gonna go to Vegas and play full time, and that has been 4 years now, and I haven't looked back. Yeah. Although at the beginning of this year, I almost quit. At the beginning of last year, I almost quit. But I don't regret continuing, and I think I'll stay in poker for a while.
I mean, interesting. You have Master of Science in Business Psychology, right? So just want to understand, like, how has your academic background helped you understand and adapt to the psychological dynamic of poker, right? And how it helped you on the table, right, when you play against a lot of different kind of players.
So I have a master's in business, and I have a master's in business psychology. The business psychology part was more about organizational psychology and leadership psychology. It's limited in poker how you can apply that, because you're not really working in teams, right? So I'm not leading anyone in that way. But the business side of it is, so psychology not so much, but the business side I've been using extensively. I have all kinds of Excel spreadsheets, reportings. I know my ROI. I mean, you can't trust it because the numbers, at least in live poker, are not high enough. I think the business side is really the one that is most critical, and that has helped me a lot in this game that other poker players, if they start off very young, don't have. The psychological aspect, I've always been interested in psychology and been doing a lot of research, but I think the master's was in a different field. It's not as applicable.
But was it like, any added advantage whenever you play against a lot of players? Although it's a different, but I mean, it's a part of psychology, so.
Yeah, I think my interest and my affinity to psychology is helpful, like to understand like who the people are that are at the table. But I don't think that. So my affinity leads me to having certain strengths in the game, and my affinity led me to doing the masters. But I don't think that the masters topics and the themes that I had in my master's degree actually are applicable at the poker table, because it's like more about team organizations, leadership, and such things.
Interesting. So, I mean, it's a very interesting question, very, very important question, actually. The next question. So, you have in tech and poker, and both the industries being criticized for gender inequalities. So, what inequalities or parallels have you observed? Because you have been playing poker, you were in tech also. So have you observed any such thing in your vicinity?
Absolutely, yeah. I think so. I was on the non-tech side of tech, right? Because it was a senior program manager and like having a portfolio of projects, but I wasn't in the coding area. But I know a few women who are in the coding area, and I know that tech can be one of the harshest environments in the corporate world. And like my master's that I wrote in business psychology was about the perception of gender inequality in tech, and just by the numbers alone, there is gender inequality. Some people like it depends on how you explain the gender inequality, right? Like, but there's definitely a lot of socialization, and there's definitely a lot of cultural background, right? Like. I'm reading this book about the history of womankind and how everything was before the patriarchy. The patriarchy is technically only 2,000 years old, and we have knowledge of humankind evolving into conscious, conscient, like a human sapien, like Homo sapiens, for 30,000 years. And for 28,000 years of that, we were matriarchies. And anyways, so in those last 2,000 years, women were declared to have to stay at home, to declared to their only purpose being mothers, their only purpose being wives. And I think that that's a lot of baggage that we are just sifting through right now, and we're doing it in tech. And then, but honestly, poker is a lot more overtly male dominated, and men are a lot more direct in telling you that this is not your place. So I don't want to like create some kind of victimhood or something, because 99.5% of men are great. And there's no comments about that. But if you piss off the wrong guy at the table, and they want to lash out at you, that's what you're gonna hear. So you do, even online, like I've had like chat stories of people telling me that I should go back to the kitchen and stuff like that. But yes. And then you see like the covert stuff of like, oh, I'm like, the ladies event is going on, I'm sure you want to play that, right? And it's like, no, like actually I'm advancing in my game, and I'm playing the high roller today. And having to explain that 4 times does feel like you're it's sexist, even though the people that are telling you, oh, the ladies event is over there, are really nice people, and they don't even realize that they're thinking in this way. And there are also women who support that kind of sexism by like, the patriarchy is supported by humans, right? By all kinds of humans. It's like the men and the women. The women, there's a difference between the women who tell you to live freely, and if you want to have a family, go have a family. If you want to be a mother, full-time mother, and take care of your 3 children and 5 pets or something, this is a good job. This is an important role in society. Or you just have a career, and if you don't have kids, that's fine too. But there are men and women who are like, no, a proper woman has to have children. A proper woman lets her man work. A proper man takes care of his family, so his wife doesn't have to work. That's the way things are set up for now, and we're only slowly changing things. And you can see that in poker and in tech for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's the saddest part, but to be very honest, it's like, this is a mental, kind of mental thought process which is being created in over the years. And not only men, but women also think in the same fashion. They also comment in the same fashion, which is really sad. But yeah, I mean, it's breaking up. A lot of women are doing pretty good everywhere, not in other field, but in poker also. I mean, a lot of success are going on. But yeah, I mean, for the fellow women poker player, do you have any advice? Because you have just gone through multiple phases where you have seen this sexism, and where people are just commenting and maybe disturbing sometime on the table also. Because I was interviewing Vidhi also. There's like, some other poker player. She was also like, she told me the same way, like, on the poker table multiple times she get comment from other fellow poker players. So what kind of advice you generally would like to give to other women poker player who are budding women poker player, or maybe aspiring one? So how should they handle such kind of scenarios?
Um, so first of all, those things don't happen often, but when they happen, it's not easy, right? So I've had poker players play back at me because had a big stack and I'm a pretty aggressive player, and they were trying to put me in my place, right? And I was totally surprised by that and shocked and like, oh my God, what is happening? So what my advice would be is, for your own health, don't go into it expecting it. Don't go looking for it, right? Like most men and women are higher frequency, good people. So if they say things like that, if they say things like that are silly, like, oh, I bet you would like a nice handbag. It's like sometimes you can actually call them out on it. Like, and they will be like, oh my God, what did I just say? So most people don't mean it nastily, right? Like they're nice. Most people are nice people. They try to be, at least. But when those things happen and it's actual hostility, it's not easy. Aside from like breathing, what helps is like looking for someone at the table who is, like, who you can bond with, who you can look at, and the person, doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, would be like, come on, you're good. So you can find an anchor. And I actually think that applies to anything. Like, even if men are like, they got this huge suck out and they're like emotionally angry or hurt, or it's some kind of other prejudice because you're old, or because you're different race, or because you're different religion or something like that, and people will make some kind of nasty comments, then look for someone at the table who can anchor you. And then don't go into it too vigilant, because it will make you, it will not be fun. But be prepared that those things can happen. And I think meditation and introspection is good. Like, hey, like, why is this triggering me so much? And how can I strengthen my position? Like, help another woman, or like, see that there are many male allies that you can have, and just like establish your support network.
I mean, it's a great advice. So, in fact, 2024 saw several controversies over sexism, including the one with the Vanessa Cade and Benjamin. So, how do you think industry can address sexism and create more inclusive environment for women poker player?
Organizationally, so I actually like the ladies events. It's not so in that where I had to choose between the high roller and the ladies event, I would have liked to play both. So I think ladies events are good to bring in women, and the more women there are, the more good players there will be. Like, kind of like tech, right? Like, I don't know if I believe in quotas, but naturally, if you teach girls poker and you tell them that it's a mind sport, right? And it's like, everything's like, this is something good to know how to make decisions under uncertainty, how to stick with your decisions, and that decisions have implications and consequences, and how are you going to deal with those consequences? And it's a great game to learn for women and for girls and for boys. And then you bring up more and more girls. Naturally, I think there will be more women successful, and then it will shift over time. Other than that, I think that there should be repercussions for socially or organizationally, for people who say things like that. I mean, I personally had the most issues with the Ben CV story, because I had been looking up to him for years and learning from his content. And when that happened, like I've noticed over like he has some emotional stuff going on where he berates his fans how stupid they are, and things like that on his video content sometimes. But I was like, oh, come on, no. This person is so important for poker. No. What are we? He doesn't understand what he's doing to the women, like that are just coming up, right? Like kind of like there is a future. There is a generation. I mean, I consider myself a young generation, even though I'm sort of an old person, but like a young generation of female poker players that is just starting to like really work at it and get to it. And like, it's so cutting to hear like a role model, like a expert of poker speak like that, and basically like demotivate us. Like, you can't play poker anyways, you're not competitive enough. Like, yeah. So I don't know what the industry, in the sense of like our regulations and everything, can do, but I do think that they should do something. There should be repercussions. There's freedom of speech, and I believe in that, and it's great. But I mean, you can't just let that stand there. And then in terms of, I believe strongly in education. So just bringing up the new generation of boys and girls that have no prejudice towards the game, because the game is very androgynous, like in the sense that so many skills that women have and so many skills that men have can be used in the game. And I played very differently than the next woman, and any man plays differently than the next man. It's an art, it's a sport, it's a craft, poker is so many things. And everybody brings themselves into the game, which is why it's so cool, right? Like all your skills, all your talents, all your issues, all the mental stuff going on, everything comes into the cards. Like it's like a mirror. It's like a microcosm of life. And so there is really no difference between a woman and a man in their ability to be successful in the game.
Correct. That's 100% true. So you mentioned you have been reading a book about the culture and heritage of humankind with a focus on women. So what are your takeaways from this book specifically?
Yeah, I've only started it, so I'm like a quarter in. But I did mention it to the right of the questions. Because like I said, that the history, like from the Stone Age up until they discovered how to farm, was matrifocal. Sometimes outright matriarchies, but really about like women are actually the ones who discovered the fire because they were at home, right? And they created tools, they created language, they created pottery. They were the inventors and the drivers of civilization. And our brains haven't really changed that much. So my takeaway, so that book was written in the 90s, right? In the 90s, there was this like big feminist movement, and there is a lot of anger. And one of the authors is also Black, so you get like a lot of women back in the day and even now are really angry at the oppression. But by any means, this is not the only minority group that is experiencing this, right? Like, I'm sure, like, you have those things. I can't speak. I'm like with the caste systems, like with religions, with like different things. Like you have a lot of like frustration of oppression, and you have to get over that while reading these books, and then really dig into what the data says, what they present as facts, and like the anthropological facts, the historical facts, and it shows so much that women are so capable, and everyone can be so capable, and that there is so much, like maybe less than in the 90s, but there's still so much work to do to make women and men believe that they can do it, make women believe that they can be successful, make women believe that it's okay if you don't want to have a family and you want to pursue your career, that you are that you are still a full woman, that a man is still a full man if he admits that he's wrong, or that someone else is better, that a man doesn't have to be like that. The whole thing about like this, like the book about like the 28,000 years of history, and even actually 29,500, because this religion of logic and only logic, no emotion, is so young, right after the medieval times. Is like to be holistic, right? Like you can cry, you can be emotional. You should actually be. You are made with a brain that can do everything, that is spiritual, that is intuitive, that is logical. And in poker and in life, I think you should draw from all of these things instead of trying to isolate yourself to only being one thing. Like, I can only be rational. And it's like, why? You mutilating yourself. You have all these other gifts. Use them, you know? And then, so it's a mix of things. Like, the takeaways are enable women to believe in themselves and to have self-confidence, enable men to release the pressure of, oh my God, I have to be this hard guy to be a real man. No, you can actually be like soft and tender and gentle and patient and supportive and all of these things and still be a full man. Actually, I think that's actually really sexy.
Wow, this seems to be amazing. In your earlier days, you visited India and specifically Goa. You have a lot of poker players from India also. So could you share your experience, like, and what do you think about poker in India also, right? Compared to the Western world. I mean, although it's growing, evolving, but still, like, how did you experience from your perspective?
So unfortunately, I have not been to Goa. I did visit India with Amazon, and I was in Delhi and Bangalore. I wanted to try out poker there, but we didn't have time for it. But I know a few Indian poker players. I don't know, because I really don't have that much experience. I will travel this year and next year. But I was impressed. I think the first Indian poker player that I met was, I hope I pronounce her name properly, Muskan Sethi.
Muskan Sethi, yeah.
Yes. She was at the table, and she didn't play 100% perfectly, but she played with like she's really good, and she played with like self-confidence and like dominance. Like that was like I was this was it was my first year as a pro, right? Like first full-time year. And there she was, and she was like, I own this table. Like she was welcome to my table. Like, it is like in a very friendly way, but like it was just so she was aggressive and like in her game, and she was like very friendly and very modern, right? Like because when I went to Delhi and Bangalore, not everybody was super modern, and I can imagine that not like that poker wasn't. Bangalore is really like in the right areas, right? It's pretty modern.
Interesting. About 4 years ago, you moved to the Las Vegas to pursue your poker dream. And so, how has this transition shaped your approach to the game, right? And what lesson you have learned about poker lifestyle during this time, specifically when you shifted to US?
I learned poker in Germany. I learned I played on PokerStars, the 180 sit and goes, and like even the 50-50 sit and goes, like opening like 20 tables and playing like stubborn mini stakes, micro stakes. And then when I moved to the US in 2016, poker wasn't that big of a topic for me. I didn't even know that I could play online. I thought that online, like poker was not legal and stuff, and I didn't know that where I could play live. But I learned more and more about the industry here. And then when I moved to Vegas, well, actually, I decided to play full time and give it a shot. I played because I had the money from Amazon. I played like 50-cent, $1 cash games on ACR and got wrecked. It's like I was not good. I was not good. And then I knew I was going to move to Vegas, even when I was playing the ACR thing for like 2 weeks or something, and I was like, oh my god, like I suck. And I moved to Vegas during COVID, so with all the with the plexiglass stuff and the masks. I think, the quickest way to, maybe not to learn, but to apply what you learn and like settle it, is by playing. And it was only in Vegas that I could play online, that I could play live, because there's so much poker. You can find people who play poker, so you can learn more. So the transition to Vegas basically exposed me more to poker, in essence, than it might have been if I had lived somewhere else. The lifestyle in poker, in live poker, I think is pretty dangerous in a way, just mentally speaking, because there's so much alcohol around, there's drugs around, there's like it's very easy to slip. I was drinking a lot in the last 3 years or so. I quit drinking this last year, like completely. But it can, if you don't watch out for yourself, it can be kind of dangerous for your health, just overall, because tournament poker is emotionally draining. I'm sure cash game poker is a little bit too, but tournament poker can go bad for a long time. So especially if you play live, because they're just playing one tournament at a time, right?
Yeah, it's true. Everything comes with pros and cons, so that's fact. So one thing came up, like in one of the interview with Grant Gardner, who's poker mind coach. So his point is you build a community around you to discuss discuss everything if you want to perform better. That's what he suggested, I mean, to our poker audience. So was this step, like, moving to Las Vegas, help you out in building that community where you can just discuss a lot of things about poker and just increase your make it a better community learning? Was it the help?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I would say that I know a lot more people now and that I can just like, especially the things that you can't look up, right? Like a couple days ago, 2 days ago, I ran a bluff against a recreational player, and I'm like looked it up in GTO Wizard, and I was like, wow, this is like massively minus EV. And then I was like, okay, what are the assumptions, right? Like, okay, because I was really short stack when I ran the bluff, and I was like, oh, the assumption is that this big stack person would never bet flush draw on the flop. This assumption is that this person would always check pure aces and kings on the flop. And then because I'm like, okay, well, how realistic is this? And then I asked a friend, like a coworker, right? I'm like, okay, this bluff is really minus EV according to GTO. Because of these assumptions. What do you think? And then he was like, well, I think that they check flush draws 0% on the flop. And I don't think that they ever check aces or kings there either. And I was like, okay, well then removing that out of their range, like, like you can make a much more with other people. You can like giving you feedback, you can gain a much better, like much more informative decisions.
Okay, moving to your winnings. So, I mean, you won multiple titles, but last year, 2024, was amazing for you because you won WSOP Commerce Casino main event. So, I mean, my question is like, how this victory means to you, both personally and professionally.
That was a game changer completely. At the beginning of 2024 and 2023, like I had a really terrible 2023 in all senses of the word. And so at the beginning of 2024, I wanted to quit poker. I sent applications everywhere, but like not so half-heartedly, because I didn't really want to quit poker. But I was like, oh my God, if I keep running, like I didn't even know. I thought I was bad at poker. After a certain amount of losing, I was like telling myself that I sucked, right? Like just like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Oh my God. And I didn't hear anything back from my like LinkedIn quick apply applications. And then I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And then my then boyfriend had won a bracelet online in 2023. So he was invited to the TOC, Tournament of Champions in LA. And I was like, okay, all right, whatever. Like, let's give it a shot. And I think I was like on bullet 4 when I started feeling the heat. And actually, I have to say that I had a coach review my hand histories before LA. And when he was reviewing it, and he was telling me like, wow, like he's the greatest. My Wasserman, he's like such a gentle soul too. He was like, oh my God, wow, you nailed that. And I'm like, oh my God, you nailed that. Oh my God, you nailed that. And I was like, oh my God, maybe I don't suck. It's like, oh my God, maybe all the studying in the past years actually, like maybe it didn't go nowhere. And then I gained confidence. And then with that confidence, I played in LA, and with the same skills, more confidence. And then happened as it happened, a massive score. And what was more important even than that, was the feedback that I got on the performance that I had on day 2 and day 3. So I gained confidence, won all my money back, and got a peace of mind. And in the last year, so in 2024, I've made several final tables. After that, um, a couple second places, couple fourth places. I played different. I think I played differently too because I'm much more confident, and I think I can take. So now I'm in a downswing. I mean, you can always be in a downswing, even if it's like just 5 tournaments. But this month has not been good, or WPT has not been good either. But it's a lot easier to handle because I'm like, I didn't think I could win. I thought I should quit, and then I scored, right? So you never know when it's gonna come. So it gives you a lot more, like that one score changed perspective on my game or
Hmm.
the game in general.
But I think it's true, like, a good coach can, prepare you for big winnings, or maybe they can prepare you for big battles, right? So it's
Yeah,
always there, like, every good player need a good coach, right?
yeah, I think so. Especially when things are not going well and self-doubt starts creeping in, to have someone to review your hands and tell you like you're fine is so important. Like battling that self-doubt is so important to make you keep you motivated.
I'm sure 2024, you seems to be like, whenever you done final tables, multiple final tables, and you won WSOP Commerce main event also, you got that feeling, hey, this is like, me winning the game. It's not about gender anything anymore, right?
I honestly don't think about gender unless it's like in my face,
but
like
but
when like yeah.
yeah, but a lot of people, I mean, still poker consider as a, like, male dominated game. But yeah, I mean, we are so happy, like a lot of women poker players are doing pretty well, on the tables. They are, like, playing excellently well, even from India also, like Nikita, Muskan, so many players, they are doing very well. So definitely whenever a women poker player win, they should, like, show it to the world, like, hey, I mean, it's all about mind. It's a sports basically, and whoever's doing, I mean, whoever doing is fine. It's irrespective of their gender, right? So it's just a sports, right?
Yeah, it is. With that being my sport and that, like a kind of a reflection of life, I say like a little micro life. Um, like I think anyone can do it. Um, with it sounds so corny, but it's like if you work hard enough at the game and select the right environment, anyone can do it. But having the resilience and the self-discipline and the work ethics, that's not easy to get, like, but if you have it, you'll make it anywhere. Like, yeah, like I think there's something like a critical success factor in humans. Like, if it wasn't for poker, they would be successful in something else because it's just the dynamic of their personality structure. I wish we didn't have to talk about if it's women or men anymore. I wish it were just like, okay, so this is a good player and it doesn't really matter. But I think we still have a long way to go.
Yeah, but hats off to, I mean, all the ladies, poker players. Why? Because you guys are opening door for a lot of players. So a lot of women, they are interested in the game, and they are now aspiring to consider poker as a career, and they want to do it full time. I mean, hats off to you guys. Thank you so much, for
Yeah,
taking.
that's awesome.
I would like to, ask a question, like, how do you prepare mentally and strategically for such big events, right? Because it's like, so, it's a tiring physically, mentally, like, so what all strategies you follow, even emotionally also, right?
I think we talked a lot about like how it's emotionally draining, but even though you're just sitting, it's physically draining as well. Or maybe especially because you're sitting so long. Um, I think all the preparation, tactically and physically, emotionally, happens before the event. Like you can't, like you, and way before the event. It's like a habit building. So I work out at least 3 to 4 times a week, which helps me. Like you will see like marathon runners have like really good attention spans too, because they're just like, it's like being locked into something. It's like body and mind are like I said before, it's like the wholeness, the you know, like if you have a very healthy body and you can run for like 40 kilometers, and then like you will probably be able to sit at the table for a very long time and be concentrated. So I think physical health is really important. Emotional health, I have a therapist, and we go through all the things that come up during the game or in my dreams, or like whatever in interaction with other human beings. So that can be worked upon so it doesn't come up at the table. I have a poker mindset coach. We're working, I'm not the greatest at that. We're working on like establishing a healthy routine of like getting up at the same time, going to bed at the same time, eating at the same time. And it's like really, really, really hard for me. So yeah, that's something I'm working on. In terms of before the event, sleeping is really, really important. So I know he's not related to poker, but he is a sports performance coach. And even in sports where it's athletic, where it's like physical, most of the gains come from the rest time. And I also struggle with taking enough rest days from poker. And I can't, although, or maybe because I struggle with it so much, I feel like it cannot be stressed enough. Like it can't be emphasized enough how important rest is. Get enough sleep before the events, and food. Watch what you're eating. Like not too many empty calories, sugars, whatever. Stick with like whole grains over the course of the day. And then proteins at night, to keep you mentally focused. And what else? Yeah, if things come up, if things come up at the table, like I have a lot of things where it's like something is not going well, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm done for this tournament. Oh my God, look, like and because the brain is trying so hard to make sense of chaos, it forces you into patterns. And my brain tells me, like, when things are going badly, I'm like, okay, this is over. Like the tournament's already over for me. Or things are going well, and I get like giddy, like the winner's tilt thing, right? Like, so it's like, oh my God, like. Although the winner's tilt, I guess, is a little bit better because you're more confident, but like stop, or you had a bad beat, and or a suck out, or you got bluffed or something like that, and your stack is suddenly not what it was before. But also when you double up, and like all these things are gonna cause emotion, and like check in with yourself, and like meditate if things are not okay, you know. Just like close your eyes and do breathing exercises. And yeah, long term, like most of the work happens away from the table.
Very interesting insights you have shared. Moving to the last question. So a lot of women are now aspiring to enter into poker arena. They are somewhere like, you know, recreational, they are playing online, but yeah, most of them, like, they are interested in the live poker also. So what is your message or advice to all the aspiring women poker players, so that this community should grow, right? It shouldn't be any male dominated space for men only, right? So what your advice or message for all those poker players?
I would say know why you're doing it, and remind yourself of it when things are not going well. So actually that's a universal. That's like for men and women. Because if you are doing it to gain money real fast, you're not going to last, because you're not going to win money that fast, or you're going to win it fast and then lose for a long time before you win again and stuff like that. If you are doing it because you love the game, or you love learning about the game or whatever, but it's like really, it's about process. It's about the game itself. Then write that down and keep it in mind, because things are going to go up and down and left and right and sideways, and they're not going to be in control a lot of times, or you're going to be dissatisfied with your performance or dissatisfied with your results, or like in so many ways. And it's like always to come back to the core, like to like your golden core is going to be, I love this game. Just remember. You see, so actually it's most poker players that go full time, they quit within 5 years, because they just don't, their relationship is not with the game. Their relationship is with the lifestyle or with the results, the money. And that's not going to keep you in the game for very long. Specifically for women, I think build your community. No, actually, it's again for like for both genders. Build your community, build your support network, and expect the best, but be prepared for the worst, like go into a game, go to the tables, and both how the cards run, but also the people that you meet, just assume best intentions, because I think that's the only way how to have like a happy life. But then be prepared for the worst, like all of a sudden, like you're going to get 16 suck outs, or there is this man who just told you that you shouldn't actually be here. Like, or yeah, whatever. Or if you're an aggressive young man playing poker, and there's people that like talk shit at you because it's like, oh, he's like this online kid, whatever. Be prepared for the worst, and be able to handle it, but be positive and optimistic when you go in. Believe in yourself, and if you can't believe in yourself, if you're struggling with it, then find someone who will do it for you in the interim.
Interesting. One follow-up question. So, so as you said, like, in 2023, like, you have seen downswing, and then you are about to leave the poker. It happened with a lot of poker players, right? Whether they are online players or offline players. So you actually, you just came up from your downswing. You just done a bounce back, and in fact with the victories, and doing final tables and everything. So what is your suggestion for all the poker players, like, who are just going through the downswing, so that they should stick to the game, they should keep loving the game instead of focusing on winning and loss? So what should your suggestions or any thoughts, or whether they should read any books, or how they can keep walking with the game, right, instead of
Yeah. I actually wrote about that last year, as like on X and stuff. Anyone will tell you in a downswing, like everybody tells you, play fewer tables, play lower stakes, put in a cash game session if you're a tournament poker player, the micro stakes, to give yourself a winning session, whatever. I think the things that have helped me the most is really hiring a coach. And we're not saying like, it's not like hire a coach because you necessarily suck, but just to have like a reflection on your game that's from someone else than yourself. I know I struggle with that a lot. Take a break, really, because even though you may not realize or think that it's affecting your game, it most likely is, because you tilt faster, right? You bring like the tilt from yesterday's session into today's session, and it's like, oh my God, of course I was going to lose this flip because I've been losing flips all the time. And then you make the different decisions because you're already telling yourself, like, of course I'm going to lose. Of course I'm going to lose a 60-40. Of course they suck up. Like, you know, like, and then you get like into a rut. So breaks are really important, even though I'm not great at it. Hiring coaches, hiring mindset coaches, that can also probe your mental game. Of course, like lowering stakes and blah, 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 the financial stuff, but I'm really more, everybody knows that. I'm more about the mental things, I think, or like what I said, like hire a coach, gain self-confidence, reflect on your game, study a little bit, take breaks, hire a mindset coach who will actually challenge your beliefs of like it tell you how to get out of it when you notice that you're telling yourself the stories of like, of course I'm going to lose this hand because I've been losing these flips for a month now.
I mean, that's really interesting insights you have shared, right? And you actually came out of your downswing and with a big bang. So it's really important.
Yeah. So it was super surprising. If you saw the video, I'm like, oh my God, what happened? It's like I just wanted to quit, and then I won, in a big one too. So yeah, it's like,
so
it's irony. Like, yeah.
So we really
Life is
congratulate
funny.
you. We really congratulate you, like whatever you're doing. You're
Thank
doing
you.
well. 2024 was excellent for you, and hoping we are praying for 2025 also. You should do more wonders, so that more people should get inspired by you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. That's conclude our interview with you. Thank you so much for being on the show and sharing so valuable insight with our audience. Thank you so much. We wish you best of luck for 2025 and hope to see you soon, interviewing very soon, like when you win another title in 2025.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was fun.
Thank you.